Hi guys, I'm Toto and I'm here with Joey Sticks to talk about this deck Gnar and Darius that is one of the best decks for you to climb the ladder in the last few days of this format.
Yeah, let's head right into it and see some of the numbers that this deck has in the ranked ladder in the past few weeks. It is a very good deck for ladder because it's very aggressive. It has some very interesting lines of play that you can find lethals when you attack. As you can see in the stats, we have a few Noxus Failure decks that haven't been having the same success as Gnar and Darius. But Gnar and Darius is at the moment one of the most played decks in the ladder right now, and is also very good to catch your opponents off guard with a very good win rate.
And also is one of the best decks against Janna and Nila. It is one of the most popular decks also in the ladder and one of the most strongest decks in the game right now. So if you want to target those Janna and Nila decks, Gnar and Darius is one of the best options for you.
Great, let's see one list in this archetype. So we have this list currently has 80% win rate, right?
Yes.
It has 80% win rate, which is something that I have never seen before, to be honest. And it has some very interesting units, some aggressive ones, a few. It has 12 one-drops, which is the mark of an aggressive deck in Legends of Runeterra, but a lot of overwhelm units as well.
So this deck has one of the best for your packages. We have Sky Splitter, that is one of the best spells for you to protect your units so they don't get removed very easily from your opponent's removals. Also, we have Battle Fury, which is one of the most strongest spells for you to end games, so your unit will be very, very large and big and strong and pass a lot of damage against your opponent's Nexus. Also, we have Whirling Death, that is one of the best tricks to overcome your units, your opponent's units during the battle, and it's very consistent against Janna and Nila also.
Yeah, we have a few interesting spells to buff your attack when you're being blocked by your opponent. So Decisive Maneuver is a card that is very underestimated by your opponents and can easily find you those lethals in unexpected turns.
Another thing about this deck is that Period is one of the most aggressive cards. It's one of the cards that was nerfed a while ago, but it was revived in this archetype, so you can stun your enemies, you can also proc some damage against your enemy's Nexus. It's a very flexible card in this archetype.
So we have a few burn elements here. We have Saboteur, Tusk Speaker, and Pirouette that can give you maximum 3 damage against your opponent's Nexus in case you're missing just a little bit more health to finish them off.
We have another version of this archetype, so we can see another way to play this deck. So we're going to change the deck right now. You can see that this version has the same units from the first version, but the spells are more cheaper, so in this case this deck is more aggressive.
So we have Noxian Fervor, which is an extra burn element for you to use, and also Elixir of Wrath, which is a cheaper spell, burst spell that can make your attacks even stronger. So this is a little bit of a more aggressive version, as Toto said, and it can be used as an alternative if you're fighting the other version with Decisive Maneuver and Whirling Death, a bit too heavy, a bit too dependent on your opponent's responses. So this one is a little bit more aggressive.
It's better suited for you to play in the ranked because it has more surprise elements and it's faster. If you want to play this deck and this archetype in tournaments, I recommend you play the first version.
Great, so let's see a mulligan for this list. So as we can see, we have a few very cheap units. This is a very curvy deck, so you'll play these units on curve. We have Legion Saboteur, Tusk Speaker, and Omenhawk and Iron Ballista as your priority units. After that, you'll get units that are buffed by Omenhawk if you have him on turn 1, and your Iron Ballista and Tusk Speaker can become big units when you put them with an equipment like Bone Club. Saboteur helps with more burn for your early turns when your opponent doesn't have a blocker, which is very common for Janna and Nila, for instance. And yeah, this is a very good hand that you want to look for when you're playing this deck.
this deck's very straightforward. Here we pick the best 2/1 drops in the game and the best 2-drop also. Iron Ballista, it's also the best 3-drop in the game, and if you have this card in the curve, it's always such a big deal for you, and your opponent maybe will not have a response for this card.
Yeah, great. So let's see some of the good matchups for this deck. We have Barjana, Nilajana, and Seraphim Jana as the greatest matchups for this archetype. Right, so let's see a few of the good matchups Gnar and Darius has. As we can see, Barjana, Seraphim Jana, Nila Jana, they are all prey to Gnar and Darius because Jana can't handle blocking overwhelm units. As you can see, the units in these decks don't have a lot of health, so they become easy targets for a deck like Gnar and Darius, as they can easily buff their units out of removal range, especially, and also deal a lethal attack by surprise on turn 5 or 6, which is way earlier than Jana and Nila would like to be to set up their combos and finally burn their opponents. So Gnar and Darius is a great list if you're looking to counter Jana in any form, as you can see, but it has a few bad matchups as well, right, Total?
Right here we have the bad matchups. You can see that it's 3 decks that apply a lot of pressure and are board-oriented decks, okay? So the first deck we're going to talk about is Scouts, is MF and Quinn. It's one of the fastest decks in the game right now. It has a lot of cheap units, and you can spread the units very easily in the board to set up Champion's Rank, which is one of the most strongest cards against your archetype. Then we have Kenya Trox, which also is a deck that puts a lot of pressure and it's very fast, but it can also make a lot of combat tricks against your units. It has a lot of healing and Frostbite also. Then last we have Shan Jarvan, that is one of the strongest decks right now to play against board controls. So it has a lot of buried units, also has a lot of healing and champion strength in this deck, so it's not very easy to play against this archetype.
Great, so guys, this was our deck tech for Gnar and Darius. I hope you like this deck. I hope you have success with it. Comment down below if you disagree with some of the things we said in this video, or what do you think about this deck. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next week.